Happy New Year, ink drinkers. Today, we thought we'd join you for an episode and kind of talk through some of our reading goals for 2026.
It is that time of year. Everybody's setting their reading goals, but also like their book counts if they want to do more diverse reads or audiobooks or maybe get into something a little new. So we thought we'd share ours with you and hopefully you will share yours with us as well.
I am going to start with a book count. Um, 2025, I set myself a high number of 150. And I know, hey, we don't shame anybody for the number that they do or do not read.
Mhm.
If you read one, I'm just as proud as if you read 300. But the 150 mark, like I was stretching myself. And I felt myself stretching myself to it.
Mhm.
And maybe not necessarily, especially towards the end of the year, enjoying quite as many
Yeah.
of the reads because I was like, oh, I have to get to that number.
Mhm.
So I've decided to pull that number back, not too drastically, but down to like 125, so that I hopefully will like prioritize some of the books that have been sitting on my TBR that are like sequels to things that I haven't gotten around to and
Mhm.
and everything. Um, just to make it a little less pressure feel and more like enjoying what I have sitting there that I know that I want to read. It's like a fine wine.
Mhm.
I'll get to it and it'll taste great, but having that difference in number, I hope, will make reading feel more enjoyable.
That's fair. Um, 2025 for me was a little rough. I in 24 I read a little over 150 books. I think it was like 165 or so. And so for 2025 I set a goal of 150. I thought that was pretty reasonable. And life got in the way and I kind of stopped tracking books about mid-year last year or 2024. I meticulously tracked books.
Mhm.
I knew what I read, the days that I read them. I posted reviews, and I got away from that this year. So if I'm being completely honest, I don't know how many books I've read um in 2025, and I might try and go back and do a count, but I think looking into 2026 and knowing how 2025 went
Mhm.
for me, I'm going to pull back my reading goal to about 100 books, about 10 books a month. Um, I have lots of things going on, so I don't want to push myself to stretch and maybe like, oh, if I read these five novellas, I'll get to my number. I want to read things that I enjoy,
Mhm.
and I think 100 books will be attainable for next year with everything that I have going on.
Absolutely. I love it. So we're kind of aligned there. Like, hey, pull
Mhm.
back a little bit after after the higher numbers. I also did a little bit of reflecting on some of the things that I wanted to do in 2025 when it came to reading.
Mhm.
We all know I love Agatha Christie.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
um, the official Agatha Christie channel does a reading challenge every year. They have a different
Right.
theme to
Mhm.
it. And last year was the first year in a long time that I did not stay on the bandwagon with it. I read
Mm.
one of their prompted books.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Um, so I was like, okay, I really want to dive back into that reading challenge. They just posted like their postcard for their prompts, and I am really excited because I get to reread a couple of my favorites, but then
Mhm.
also read some of her like backlist that
Mm.
I've not read before.
Wow.
So within my goal there, I'm really hoping to be able to read all of the books for that prompt, and add some nonfiction back into my reading. um, I love a true crime and I really love a memoir. I
Mm.
don't have a ton of them in my repertoire. I haven't read a ton throughout my life as a reader, but I've gotten more and more into them um, as I have expanded um, my genres of reading. And last year, the two that I technically read that were nonfiction were in graphic novel format, so it's kind of
Mm.
cheating the line a little bit, but they were phenomenal, both of them. Um, And so I am hoping to add some more nonfiction back into my list.
I don't think that's cheating. I think it's just a difference in format. And I think that will draw more people in to maybe a genre that not a lot of people get into. I am
Hmm.
not really a memoir person personally, so I get that. A graphic novel version would probably be more up my alley.
I got a couple for you then.
Um, so for me, something I have really focused on, especially in the last 2 years, is reading more diversely, whether that is diverse authors or books with more representation. And so a goal for me in my within my 100 books is that a third of them, about 30, 33, to be either by diverse authors or have a good amount of representation in them. That's just, I feel like it gives a lot more perspective and I get
Mhm.
to learn a lot about different walks of life, and that is always more intriguing to me. Plus, I get to share more diverse books with the Book Talk Bookstagram community and
Mhm.
hopefully get people to join in reading more diversely. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, though, like I have fallen off tracking my
Mhm.
reading. And it's not everything, but I do like to know what I'm reading and keep,
Mhm.
half the time you're what in the bookstore and you're like, do I have this? Have I read this? And then you get halfway through it and you're like, oh, I definitely read this at some point. So at least having that frame of reference, um, with tracking, I feel like will help me somewhat. And along with that, posting more reviews.
Yeah.
I have gone so far off. I always tell myself, and again, I do this every year at the beginning of the year. I'm like, yes, this is going to be the year. I'm going to post every single book. And I usually fall off the bandwagon, but hold me accountable this time. I want to do at least 60% of the books that I
Mhm.
read, because telling myself I'm going to do every single one, I feel like is like over promising. But
Mhm.
if I can do at least like 60% of them, I feel like that's a good amount.
Yeah. I'm going to continue posting as well. That's one of the things that I love to do. I also book journal all my stuff. I
Mhm.
do like they're kind of like a tandem situation. Like I physically write in my book journal, and that's usually the review that goes up with my posts on Instagram. Um, I've never gotten into the TikTok. I'm going to let you handle that world for me. Um, but I want to keep doing that and making sure that I'm posting what I want to post,
Yeah.
not worrying so much about like numbers and things like that. I've seen a lot of people posting lately about like if I could tell myself something like when I started in my Bookstagram years ago,
Mhm.
I would remind myself that you did it for the community, not for the number count. And
Yeah.
it's so true. I have
Mhm.
found some really great connections with people through my Bookstagram account that I have absolutely loved, following
Mhm.
their journey through life, their reading progress, and things. And so just being mindful that I'm doing that as like a thing for me
Mhm.
and staying consistent with that. With your diverse authors, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of that one a little bit too, because for me, I wrote it down as reading 12 new to me authors.
Mhm.
So, like jumping outside of my comfort zone of my like go to authors within my go to
Fair.
genres. Um, there are a couple of debut authors that I am looking forward to for next year. A few of them are in that diverse category and everything.
Mhm.
So it's like not only is it their debut, but it's me expanding for those same reasons too, like seeing different walks of life, and finding just new books that bring me joy.
Yeah, that's the point, right? Is to find things that bring you joy and that stretch your mind and like broaden your horizons.
Hmm.
I also want to do at least 6 new authors. I think I'll be able to do way more than that, but again, trying to keep realistic goals
Hmm.
here. So that would be like one every other month for me. Just I tend to keep going back to like people that I love because I
Hmm.
know I love their writing and their characters and things like that. But I also enjoy reading new things because then I find more authors that I'm like,
Yeah.
I love their characters
Yes.
and the way that they do things. Um, so I do want to read new authors, but there are several or a series that
Yeah.
I would like to finish this year. because I love a series. I love a give
Same.
me a series with like 7 books. I'm a happy girl.
Yes.
But then you get in the middle of them and I wander off the path.
Or you
So
have to wait for the publications, and so then you get back. I
that
feel like that's where I'm struggling, is having to wait for them. So I'd almost rather like find the series after it's all been published so I can binge read it.
yes. And I know that that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Like on Book Talk, for example, is like,
Hmm.
give me a finished series. But sometimes it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So a few series I would like to finish. Stormlight Archive. I started that last year with a read along, or this year, 2025, with another book talker who was doing it with her followers. And I got through book 3. Mind you, I have forgotten most of book 3, so I need to reread book 3 and get to the end of Wind and Truth so I know what's going on. But not just that, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I
Yep.
also started Red Rising this year,
Haven't started that one yet.
and I would like to finish at least the main trilogy next year. I also started Legendborn, or I've read the first 2 books of Legendborn and then reread the first 2 books of Legendborn. So I'm going to get to Oathbound this year. And also one of my favorite series that may be lesser known, but I also strong armed her into reading, the Black Witch Chronicles.
Oh, yes.
I
Hmm.
will finish that this year if it kills me, because it is so good
It
and I've
is.
just strayed so far away from it. But I'm ready to get back.
Yeah. Um, Now I'm sitting here going, gosh, how many series did I start that I haven't finished? Because
Oh, there's definitely more. This is just the ones I'm determined to finish next year. I can think of about 5 more series that I've started that are not on this
yeah,
list.
I can think of quite a few that I need to, just the ones that I physically have that I need to finish,
Yes.
but then also like, because, I've run into the reader's worst nightmare where I found the series when it became paperback and you couldn't find the hardcovers up anymore.
Yep.
So, like, my
Mm-hmm.
copy of Spell Shop is paperback. So,
Yeah.
I want to read Enchanted Greenhouse, but I need my copies to match. So, I have to wait until that is published in the matching paperback to, I mean, I, it can't stick it
Mm-hmm.
on my shelf without it having its matching counterpart. It's just, it's a whole thing.
And there's another one of those coming in.
I know. So I'm going to be behind in those because I put myself in this awful hole. But yeah, there are quite a few that I have sitting on my shelf that I need to definitely finish. One of the things that I told myself that I was going to do in 2026 when it comes to a series, though, in 2025, and I'm going to get so much for this, but I read every book in the Throne of Glass series except for the last one.
Well, I guess in your defense, the last one's supposed to completely wreck you.
It
So,
is.
or
I
no,
also had, well, I guess I shouldn't say in 2025. I started it in 24, towards the end of 24, and read most of it in 25. And 20 end of 24 threw my life into a tizzy. And
true.
so I paused and I went to pick up Kingdom of Ash, and I felt like I was so disconnected from the characters.
Fair.
So in 2026, I am challenging myself. I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but I am challenging myself to reread and finish Throne of Glass. And that is going to be a feat in itself.
I was gonna say that's pretty hefty.
It is, but I already own all of the audios for them. I have
Important.
all of
That's
my
step one.
physicals, and I still have my printout somewhere of the tandem read for books 5 and 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5 and 6 for Empire and for Tower. Because if you have considered reading the series and you haven't, um, I tandem read 5 and 6 the first time, and it is absolutely the way to do it. So I will be redoing
Good to
that
know.
tandem read when I get to those 2 books. But yeah, we'll see how well I do with these. I feel like that's my biggest, like, ooh, unrealistic maybe, but we'll see.
Well, we can do check-ins periodically to see how that's going.
I'll let you know. I'll
Mhm.
let you know. I'll keep you updated. Okay, so with goals in mind and everything. There are a lot of books coming out this year
True.
in 2026, whether they're new books in general by authors that I love or authors that I'm excited to read. Um, or let's talk about that sequel situation because there are quite a few sequels as well
Oh, I
that
have
I
a
am
list.
looking forward to.
Yeah.
So I thought we could go through a couple of those as
Sure.
well.
I
Okay,
have a list.
me too. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to start with a sequel. I'm pretty sure this one is on yours as well. The second book in the Language of Dragons is coming out very soon.
Yes.
A War of Wyverns, and I am dying to get my hands on it to see where that cliffhanger continues.
Yes, this was a book I actually hadn't been exposed to previously. And you will probably see this throughout our different book clubs. I'm a Fairy Loot subscriber, and one of the books that came at the end of the year, or maybe it was at the beginning of last year. I'll have to look at the month, but was A Language of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gorgeous copy. And I was like unsure
Mm-hmm.
about this book. Finally read it. It is a linguist's
Mm-hmm.
like dream. It's about a girl who weasels her way into a school and is trying to learn the language of
Dragons.
dragons. And it's got all of these amazing fantasy elements in it, these smart ass dragons, and a little bit of mystery in there. And like Mandy just said, it ends on a bombshell
Yes.
cliffhanger. And so, waiting for this book, it comes out on the 6th.
Yes.
So, like, probably by the time we post this already out,
Yes, probably.
and I can't wait. Although again, on the matching thing, um I have to have the Fairy Loot copy of it, so I won't get my physical copy of it probably for a couple of months, but it is also on my list and I cannot wait to see what they do with it
Yeah.
because it was phenomenal. If you haven't read it, go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one that's on my list. This is not a sequel. This is just um, in general, a book that I'm looking forward to. Isabel, I'm gonna butcher her last name, Ibanez. She wrote The Secrets of the Nile
Mhm.
duology. She's got a couple others in her backlog, but I read The Secrets of the Nile, and the back of that book for the first one was it's like the Mummy meets an Agatha Christie
Yeah.
kind of novel, and
Mhm.
I devoured both of those books, and I am so excited because in 2026 she is debuting her adult fantasy
Mhm.
um, Graceless Heart. And I loved her writing so much that I cannot wait to pick up yet another fantasy book, but also her to dive into probably, I can't even imagine it being more rich, but a more rich world because it's adult fantasy versus
Mhm.
YA. So that's one that I am also dying to get my hands on.
Yes, that is also on my list. I've read that's also a series I haven't finished, a duology. I read the first one and have not picked up the second one yet, but
Oh,
absolutely
it's
loved
so
it.
good.
It's like you said, it's like The Mummy meets Death on the Nile, and
Hmm.
it's fantastic. So I can't wait to see what she does with that. And I think I'm actually getting that one next month as well.
So jelly.
Um,
I live vicariously through your beautiful books.
It they are. I absolutely love them. So I will jump in with another one that I'm very excited about. Last year, I read the Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi.
I haven't read it yet.
I, if you have not read that book, you should read it. It is fantastic. It's about a woman in her 40s who was like a pirate, and she's retired. She's raising a child, and her past finds her. And she goes on this like wild um, goose chase, treasure hunt to try to find these particular objects to kind of save the world type of thing. And the end of that book was fantastic, but the second one has come out. She thinks that she's finally out. She's but now she has to find more things. And if you have never read S.A. Chakraborty
Mm,
or this, she's publishing under Shannon instead of S.A. She's the author of the Daevabad
mm,
trilogy, one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
same.
Um, she is a phenomenal author and she writes these very rich fantasy worlds.
Mhm.
They are connected but not they occur in the same world but not overlapping characters or timelines. But you really need to get your hands on these if you love a good um like kind of nautical but fun um adventure. This is one for you. Also, the audio is fantastic, especially for
Mm.
the first one. There are times where she's talking but then it sounds like she turns her head and is
Oh, I
talking
love
to
that.
somebody else, so it's like extra tidbits. And if you love a good audiobook, you should definitely check that one out.
Okay, so another one of my favorite authors is Simone St. James. I can't
Mm.
think if I've strong armed you into one of her books yet.
You had me pick up Murder Road, but
That's
I
right.
haven't read it yet.
Okay. So I love her as an author. She does an amazing job of writing the thriller horror line. I think a lot of times the bookstores have trouble deciding like what genre to really
Mhm.
classify her as. She has a lot of great paranormal twists to a lot of her
Mhm.
thrillers, and she has a new one coming out. It's called A Box Full of Darkness, and um, I'm really excited because she had posted a thing on social media, like kind of promoting it, like, hey, don't
Mhm.
forget this one's coming out. And I didn't realize this until she did, but it actually takes place in the same town as Sundown Motel,
Hmm.
another one of her novels. And she was like, you don't have to have read Sundown to be able to read my new one. Just know that it's taking place in the same spot. But if you're wondering why the hotel's abandoned and the pool is this way and like
Mhm.
these little tidbits, she goes, go check out that book because clearly she's going to be mentioning that like in her descriptions and everything.
Mhm.
So I can't wait to like just be once again like chilled to the bone by her paranormal writing.
I really need to get on Murder Road. But speaking of books that like occur in the same world, but not necessarily, you don't necessarily need to read the other ones. And you also mentioned Spell Shop,
Yes, I did.
and Enchanted Greenhouse. Those two are by Sarah Beth Durst. They're connected. They have like little mentions here and there of the other characters from other books. And I've loved them both. I have read them both. There's a third one that's connected called Sea
Mm-hmm.
of Charms coming out this year, and it's about another side character from Enchanted Greenhouse. And they're all like cozy fantasy romance type of books, and I can't wait for that one to come out. um it's about Marin, if you've read any of the other ones. And so we're going to get, I think, a little bit of boats as well.
Mm,
I feel a little theme coming on. Um, but I can't wait to see where she goes because I really loved her. Even in
yeah.
the middle of that book, when they were talking about her, I was like, I hope she gets her own book. So this I'm super excited about.
Another series.
Mm.
Um, Annalise Ryan writes the Monster Hunter mystery series.
Yes.
And the fourth book in that series is coming out this year. It's Monster in the Moonlight. And the cover art for this book
Ooh.
is gorgeous. I already love the art style that they've been
Yeah.
using for
Hmm.
this series in general. But mystery meets cryptid zoology. This book has my heart. I love everything to do about cryptids, collect quite a few things and everything. So finding this series, I don't even remember how we stumbled across this series, but we did. And I have been devouring them. So her next one is coming out. And looking at the cover art, it's going to be werewolf related. And I am
Yeah.
here for this.
That is also on my list. I actually think we were browsing at our local indie, the Book Matters, and found it on the shelf and we were like, what is this?
That's right. We found the second one.
We found the second one in the series and decided we wanted to pick it for our friends book club,
Hmm.
and then figured out that it was the second one, and we
Yes.
read the first one as well, which was Loch Ness. It was
Hmm.
so
Oh, they're
so
so
good.
good.
So good.
Yeah.
Let's see. So here's one that is by a familiar author,
Hmm.
another cozy, because I have a lot of cozy ones. Um, if you've read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of
Oh,
Fairies,
yes.
you know Heather Fawcett. Um, she is coming out with Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter, and I'm a crazy cat lady, so I'm so excited for this. It follows Agnes Albert, and she's like super organized, like very proud of being a type A manager of her cat rescue. And then she's forced to move. And
Mm.
then everything like blows up. Not actually blows up, but everything's like in disarray. And there's a like dark magician, like failed dark lord, that comes and helps her figure out what's going on. And I just like can't wait. It seems like it's going to be cozy but funny,
Hmm.
and of course there's going to be cats. So I'm here for it. It comes out in January as well, so I'm going to get my hands on a copy soon.
Yeah, that one made my list as well. Um, so I'll throw a nonfiction at you that I'm excited for. I highly doubt this is on your list, but we'll be surprised. So we all know my love for horror novels, especially with Stephen King.
Mhm.
There is a author, Caroline Bix, who got the privilege to sit down and go through the archives, through like Stephen King's archives, all of
Hmm.
his stuff, some of his unwritten stuff. She got to interview him, and she is putting out a book called Monster in the Archives, My Year of Fear with Stephen King.
Hmm.
And I am thoroughly excited about it. Stephen King himself posted about like how proud he was of the work that she was able to put into this book. And so I will be picking that one up so quickly. I've loved like the nonfiction that Stephen King himself has written.
Mhm.
So getting to like almost like see somebody else pick this man's brain
Yeah.
to figure out where his stories come from. And I think I'm most excited to see some of his unpublished stuff talked
Yeah.
about as well. Because, with how many books that he's put out over his career, there's got to be quite a few that are probably just sitting that haven't gone anywhere, like kind of gathering dust, that I would
Mhm.
love to know more about. So I'm very excited for that book in 2026.
You might be able to convince me to read that one. I was not a Stephen King person. I was not a horror reader until 2 years ago when our book club decided to start doing at least one Stephen King a
Hmm.
year. Mandy and another member of our book club are like super fans,
Super
and
fans. Yep.
I was not a I was a scaredy cat until I started reading them and realized that I wasn't that scared. And have read a bunch
Hmm.
now by him. So I would definitely be interested in reading that. The next one I'll throw out there is one that I know is on both of our lists because we loved the first one so much. It's The Knave and the Moon
Yes,
by
I
Rachel
can't
Gillis.
wait.
The Night and the Moth was a surprise for me
Mm.
because I read One Dark Window, and don't hate me for this, but I did not like that book at all. I did not like it. I did not read Twisted Crowns because I was not a huge fan. And so I got The Night and the Moth on more of a whim,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, I'll give her a second try. And I'm so glad I did because I
Yeah.
loved that book so
Oh,
much. Um,
Bartholomew.
the little gargoyle, I now have a book counter that is a gargoyle, and like I am obsessed. So I cannot wait for The Knave and the Moon to come out, and so we get more of this story and to be with these
Mhm.
characters, because like what where are they going? How am I going to get there? Um I like it can't get here fast enough.
Yeah, I hear you. So I recently read Tourist Season. I know you have it sitting
Mhm.
on your
Yep.
shelf
Mhm.
still.
Mhm.
And I mean, I read the synopsis for this book and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try. It's pushing my boundaries a little bit in the romance area, but it's all about murder and serial killers too. So I was like, that
Mhm.
also like checks a box like
Mhm.
of my interests. I devoured this book, and not that it's a spoiler, but it's a trilogy, so any good author is going to leave you with a cliffhanger. She left me with a cliffhanger. And so Tourist Season comes out later this fall, late summer. I'm going to say late summer. It's right before I go back to work, so I'm going to count it as late summer. But Harvest Season, the next book in the Seasons of Carnage by Bryn Weaver.
Hmm.
Um, I cannot wait to see more of this mess unfold, but then also some of the mess get cleaned up. I'm trying not to give spoilers
Mhm.
because you haven't read it yet.
I have not.
It's fantastic. I didn't want to put it down. I was so captivated by it. The audio for it is perfection.
Think I
It's
already
a
have it.
duo POV, so you get the female and the male narration for it. And I ate it up. And so I finished that book and I like immediately Googled like sequel release date, and I was hoping it was sooner rather than later, and it's a little bit later, but that's okay. Things to look forward to.
Yes, yes. But the book I will throw out there is The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. She's done like a adult Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with The Wishing Game, and adult like Narnia type of thing with the Lost Story. And she has one coming out called The Book Witch. And we actually met her
Yeah.
at a local book festival, and she was talking about how this one is how a woman like goes into a book to like meet her ideal book boyfriend. And so I can't wait, knowing how she did the other two and how like strong emotionally they were.
Mhm.
I can't wait to see what she does with this, especially because she does come around
Yeah.
our area, so we can actually go discuss with her.
Um, so there is one other that I was thinking of. This will be a debut novel for this particular author, Jennifer Mandula. Um, it's a new cozy fantasy that's been on my radar. It's called The Geomagician.
Yes.
It's a historical fantasy novel that's set in Victorian England. So it's already kind of hitting some of those boxes for me. Um, the main character, Mary, is a paleontologist and she uses fossils for magic, and is seeking entry into the all male geomagical society. So I am extremely excited because cozy fantasy, but that academia setting back in, Victorian England, and from a brand new author.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to dive into a new world with new characters and somebody's writing style to see if it's somebody that I want to continue to read from.
That that feels like Emily Wilde vibes. Also, if you've read A Natural History of Dragons,
Oh,
that also so that sounds like it's right up my alley. I also have that on my list. Um, what are you guys looking forward
hmm
to? Are there any of these books that you are ravenous for? Are there any that you guys would like to see us do as book clubs picks? Let us know. I'm sure that I know my list is longer than this,
yes,
but
mine
just
too.
for time's sake, I mean, we could probably spend all day talking
Yes,
about
we
these.
could.
Um, we're gonna leave our list there, but let me know, what are you guys looking at? What are you guys looking forward to? And what should we be looking at?
Yeah, seriously, what have we missed?
And we'll see you in the next one.